There is the personal truth, subjective truth, individual truth. Each and every one of us have our own unique truths. The way we see the world around us, the way we think. All of us have this, and each and every one is unique. Some are very similar, however, none can ever be the same. Okay. And then there is the collective truth. The truths that apply to all. Now there are very little, there is maybe 4 or 5 true collective universal truths. Yet, there can be a collective planetary or racial truth that all within a group has accepted as true. Now, by creating this demarcation, we are able to create 2 spaces, one in which debate or conversation, rather, takes place, exploring possible, potential, probable collective truths. And the other space will be a space which you can liken to a conversation with a friend, or a partner, or a child. Now this can take place both within their own personal reality, their bubble of truth. Both have their own. There is no way to completely share one bubble of truth, because it is an individuated aspect of consciousness, individuated point of view, point of viewing the universe from this place in time. There are only one of you. Therefore, your personal observations, your personal beliefs, your personal subjective truths is your bubble. Now, when you sit down to have a conversation with a friend, you realize, you know, that your friend and you can only speak from within that bubble. And conflict or friction will take place if one is trying to encapsulate or absorb another's bubble or subjugate. So this safe space where both can speak and recognize they're speaking from a point of view within their own personal, individual bubble of truth. However, when a harmonious conversation doesn't mean you're agreeing with each other all the time, because you can't. You're in your own bubble. However, you can take your 2 bubbles and create a bubble around them, which creates a membrane of diffusion, of distortion, or how they will take what you say and how you take what they say. Semi-permeable osmosis of ideas and thoughts. And once they realize that they have complete control over the permeability of their individual bubbles touching up against each other, you can reject what you don't want in your bubble while accepting what you do. Think of it as a cell. Cells have different walls, individuating different parts of their cell, their system. However, those systems are all connected by semi-permeable layers or walls. How they transport protein. If something has enough protein, it will not accept the protein. Okay? Think of this with ideas, thoughts, emotions. Remain within you can sustain the integrity of your bubble while accepting input from another's. That is co-creation. And right now, Earth and all of its people, many of them are in their own bubbles and only allowing very limiting and manipulative greater bubbles. So you can think of a collective, any collective, a group. Eventually they are all little bubbles within a big bubble. You can think of a corporation as many bubbles within a big bubble. So when you only take your truths in through the media, your own bubble, which you have given them free access to, you've turned off the controls of the layer. You no longer control what you allow in. It is just free flowing in with nothing going out. So they just fill your bubble with whatever they see to be what they want you to experience, what they want you to feel, what they want you to think, and eventually you end up very confused because the reality that you've been consuming and validating, allowing to expand your bubble has been overly distorted towards another's wishes, not your own. So you need to take control of that gateway, that transport membrane. You need to go back, dust off the control panel, and start analyzing what is being presented for absorption. Presented what is, or using your discernment, you may decide whether you're going to allow what is given to you into your bubble. Because if you just take things as they are given to you, that you allow them into your bubble, you are at risk of having your reality distorted to a point that you do not want it to be. And those points are different for everybody. But eventually, after having no control over what you believe, you just take what is told by the people in power, the people who have told you, who have trained you to take their word as God, take their word as truth, and you give them exclusive, very exclusive access to your reality. You've hardened your shell to all around you, all the real people who may be telling you this and that, sharing their personal experiences, boots on the ground, and you've hardened that shell, and you've only allowed a pathway from a corporation, an entity that exists to make money. That's what media is. That's what government is. That's what a corporation is. You give them unrestricted access, where they build a tunnel, basically. It's no longer a membrane, it is an input tunnel or input socket, where they plug what they want you to believe into your bubble, and you just take it. There's no give and take, there's no conversation. They tell you what to believe, and you believe it. That is what's happening in the mind, in the reality of those who have not allowed their inner powers of discernment, their infinite wisdom, to shine through. It may seem scary at first to take back control. You don't know what to think. Well, I encourage you to see it as an exciting journey, exciting new thing to do, because you're alive. You have to do something because you're alive, and you can't do nothing, or else you wouldn't be alive. And even when you're dead, you're still doing something, because you never end. However, we've chosen to experience this limited lifestyle, this limiting form and point of view, that when we allow ourselves to sit at the wheel, at the control panel of our reality, you take control of your reality. Literally, you will experience what you allow in. And it takes some time to learn the controls, to realize, oh, something snuck in without, it came in a back way. Didn't go through the main channel of discernment. And really, the task is to make sure every inroad to your belief system, your belief center, is guarded by your power of discernment and objectivity and love. If it does not feel true to you, do not allow it to assert itself as true. Your reality will change. Truly. This is not a metaphor. This is literally what will happen. And it is not woo-woo. It is the most complicated science that you've never heard of. You haven't heard of it. Doesn't mean it's woo-woo. You're just not there yet. Well, maybe you are now. Try it out. Give it a chance. Follow your joy. Only allow in to your bubble what makes you happy, what brings you true joy, not transient joy, what is exciting for the sake of doing it, not, oh, I will gain this, or I will make this much. No. Follow the part of you that has transcended earthly wants and desires, money, sex, transient joy. I'm not saying don't do these things, just don't follow it. If it presents itself and it seems like something that could bring you, or does bring you joy, you get excited about doing it for the experience, then do it. But don't follow the specter of the next hit, the next sexual encounter, the next drink. Because that's not the point. The point is experience and how it makes you feel and how you perceive it. That's the point of existing. The point of existing is not to be drunk or be high or have sex a lot. It may be a part of it. That depends on your bubble. However, if you allow those transient pleasures and pains, you follow them, that is what you will experience. Transience. If you want to work from a place of grounding, you want to go through your reality with your feet firmly on solid ground, you must find that peace which is not transient, which is always. Once you realize that, you are prepared for the vast polarities of pain and ecstasy, anger and love. You're prepared to experience the spectrum because you've grounded yourself in the neutral point of the spectrum, or even separate from certain spectrums. However, all is on one spectrum. You must find your neutral point. Everyone's neutral point is different. However, it is all in the same wavelength, the same section of the greater spectrum, just as there is a neutral pH all around 7. That is where you are neutral. Once you go too far from 7, you're a bit acidic. Too far the other way, you're too base. Positive and negative charge. That's what pH is. Acidic or basic. Positive and negative. Yes. So, take control of your the channel into your reality bubble. Go take a seat, learn the controls, dust them off, and just start the process. It's a process. It can be fun or it can be arduous. It is up to you and what you allow through. And yes, in the beginning, things will come through that you did not want to come through. However, you realize you're at the control panel and you can eject things out of your bubble as well. Just because you once let it in does not mean it lives there now. You have full control of what comes in and what goes out. Remember this. Take control of your bubble. Start finding people you would want to share the greater bubble with, and follow your joy. That joyful striving or reaching towards new experience from a place of neutrality. You accept, you place your beingness, your consciousness, you place enter your name here. You put, I put Daniel. I pluck him out of the raging river of emotion and constant stimulus and experience, and I put him on the shore so he can observe the river. And if he chooses, he may wade into the river and experience, but not lose himself in the river. Because anybody who is at the sway of what happens to them, what people say to them, how people make you feel, if you allow yourself to be put into chaos or unbalance by anything outside of you, you might as well be floating down a raging river without a paddle, without a boat. You're just being taken where the current wants to take you. And to further this analogy, maybe I will build a boat. Now that I'm out of the river, I can build a boat. And I may experience the undulating, flowing rapids of this river from up top, from above the surface. And yes, it may get very exciting, and there may be risks, there may be transient feelings of fear and elation. Knowing this, you don't get off the boat because that scared you there. Well, you might, but you don't have to, because you're not scared now. And if you ever find yourself sinking back into the river, just pull off to the shore, hop out, repair your boat, meditate, contemplate, ground yourself again until you are ready to get back onto the river and ride that wave, that current, that flow of existence. That is the river. It is consciousness flowing around us. It's beautiful. But seeing a river from the shore or from a boat is one thing. Experiencing a river that you are drowning in is a much different experience, but it's still the same river. That's what I want to leave you with. Your point of view, or your point of grounding or unfetteredness, dictates your experience. It's the difference between being pulled through a river, hitting rocks, potentially drowning, and the exhilarating, visceral feeling of whitewater rafting, or the peaceful contentedness of sitting by a flowing river and just listening and experiencing it. Find these states within your own life. Being real at first, realizing you're drowning in a river, then pull yourself out. Learn to love the river again, to find the beauty, to get rid of your fear of drowning, And once you are ready, all that ridding of fear and false beliefs is the building of the boat. And when you're ready, you can take your boat of thought and beliefs and feelings, which is your personal reality bubble, your point of view, your subjective reality. And you may ride the greater river, flowing current, in which all other realities exist. Knowing that you don't allow yourself to be caught in that greater stream of everyone else's reality. But you ride it, and you experience it, and you take in what it has to show you, knowing that your destination may be different from another's. That river doesn't end where you get off of it. It continues on. All right.